Ciao e bentornati, welcome back to PILLOLE D'ITALIANO. Nell'episodio di oggi, episodio numero 160, parleremo di alcuni verbi pronominali. Allora, a couple of weeks ago I received a request in the comment section. Somebody asked me to talk about the verbs intendersene, interessarsene, and importarsene specifically. It took me a bit to organize with the schedule and the episode schedule, but here I am. You can consider this as a follow-up to an episode that I released a couple of years ago about pronominal verbs. We talked about different verbs anyway, so this is not a repeat. We can say that the previous episode covered the flagship pronominal verbs. If you missed it, if you're interested, you can catch up by clicking on the link that appears above my head right now. But today we're going to take a little bit of a different angle. So the verbs that were requested, surprise, surprise, are not all pronominal verbs. Yes, these are verbs, all three of them, that appear accompanied by pronouns. That's not enough to make them a pronominal verb. I'm not blaming you guys. How can you know the difference? By definition, you're thinking a pronominal verb is a verb with pronouns, and here you have it. But usually by pronominal verbs, we mean, first of all, verbs accompanied by two pronouns, and the pronouns modify the meaning of the original verb. Take andarsene, as I said, that's like the poster child of pronominal verbs. Andarsene, the base verb is andare, which we all know, to go, but the se and the ne that attach to it, well, they change the meaning so that you cannot really translate it literally and make sense of it. You have, with pronominal verbs, you have to relearn the meaning of them because they do have a separate meaning, okay? So if we take the verb intendersene, that is a pronominal verb because the base verb intendere is like a synonym of capire. Capire and intendere, to understand. Intendersene is not to understand oneself about it, right? Like translating it literally doesn't make sense. So intendersene means to be knowledgeable about something. To be knowledgeable about something because literally you're saying to know something about it. I guess that's the closest literal translation I can come up with. So intendersene, to be knowledgeable about something, to be un intenditore, right? Un intenditore, that's a person who knows a lot about something. Un intenditore di vini is somebody who is knowledgeable about wine. And it comes from that verb intendersene, or it's tied to that verb intendersene. But if you take the other two verbs, interessarsene and importarsene, you will not find them as they are in an old school dictionary. They're not true pronominal verbs. So interessarsene, it's actually the verb, reflexive verb, interessarsi. There is only one pronoun, it's a reflexive pronoun, and interessarsi means to have an interest or to get interested in something. So you're interesting yourself, you're making yourself interested in something. Interessarsi di qualcosa. Di is the normal preposition that comes after interessarsi. That's why you find the ne. Interessarsene, I have an idea that the person who requested this episode actually found the verb, maybe in its infinitive, interessarsene, because that ne was replacing something that had been previously mentioned in a dialogue, in the book that they were reading. So you might find the full form interessarsene, but that's not the original form. The ne stands for di qualcosa, whatever the topic that we don't want to repeat was. Per esempio, posso dire io mi interesso di lingue e di psicologia. I interest myself of, meaning about, languages and psychology. Mi interesso di lingue e di psicologia. Me ne interesso. I interest myself about them. Ne replaces lingue and psicologia because I don't want to repeat it. So as a shortcut, I use ne to replace di lingue e psicologia. Me ne interesso. I could continue by saying me ne interesso, ma non sono un'esperta. Me ne intendo solo un po'. Non sono un'esperta, I'm not an expert, me ne intendo solo un po', especially talking about that psychology, because I don't have a degree in it. Me ne intendo, I am knowledgeable about it, about it. Solo un po', just a little, me ne intendo solo un po'. Now the last verb that we're going to see today, I mentioned it as importarsene, but it's actually not how you're going to find it in an old school dictionary. That's how I like to say it, because if you're Googling it, then Google is going to tell you, oh, what are you looking for? Did you mean? But importarsene doesn't exist. You might have found it with a C and an E in some context, but the actual verb is importare. And importare not in the sense of to import, goods from a different country. That's another meaning of it. But importare in the sense of having importance, being important. Importare, importante, importanza, they all have the same root. So importare in the sense of being important. You can tell or you can say that something has importance for someone else. That something or someone is important to me, you would say mi importa. Ti importa. Sometimes you find an apostrophe. Ti importa. So does it have an interest, an importance for you? Ti importa? It's another way of saying ti interessa. You could use the verb importare, you could use the verb interessare in some instances interchangeably. So that's where the first pronominal aspect of it comes in, right? The mi, the ti, the ci, the si. It's not reflexive, right? It's saying that the thing that it has an importance for a person. The ne comes when we are talking about the realm, the scope. That importance is attached to a whole maybe category or a field. I could say mi importa di qualcuno o di qualcosa. Or the opposite is true, non mi importa. I am not a big fan of sports, watching sports, so I could say non mi importa molto di calcio. Non mi importa molto di calcio. So the importa is conjugated for an it. I am not the subject. But I guess it's more convenient to translate it as I don't care much about soccer, di calcio. But actually, I'm not the subject in Italian, right? Non mi importa, it's an it. So it doesn't have an importance for me. And that it is about soccer. It's a bit tricky to translate literally, oftentimes, sometimes. So, non mi importa molto di calcio, you can translate it as I don't care much about calcio. If I'm replacing di calcio now, because I already mentioned it, that's when the ne comes in. Non me ne importa per niente. Or non me ne importa un fico secco. We use sometimes these expressions tied to fruit, like a dried fig. I don't care about it at all. You could say per niente or un fico secco. So now, if we want to put all of the verbs that we've seen today together in one long example, we could say non me ne intendo per niente di moto. Non me ne intendo per niente di moto. Non me ne sono mai interessata. Non me ne sono mai interessata. And then somebody could ask me, ti interesserebbe imparare come funzionano? Ti interesserebbe imparare come funzionano? No, non me ne importa un fico secco. No, non me ne importa un fico secco. I'm not going to give you the translation of all of this. I will put this whole example in the comment section below so you can have it in the written form. Try and translate it. Based on what we talked about today, how would you translate that in English? And before I let you go, I want to introduce you to an actual pronominal verb that is very familiar. It's used in very informal context, but that you could use among friends or family members, people that you know well, to mean importarsene. So that fake pronominal verb that we saw, the third one, you can replace it with an actual pronominal verb that has the same meaning. So to care about something, to give a damn about something, that's what you're saying with the verb fregarsene. Fregarsene. And that means to care about something in a sense that you're giving a damn. It's strong like the English, I don't give a damn. Non me ne frega niente. I don't give a damn at all. So at the end of the very long example that I gave you earlier, non me ne importa un fico secco, I can replace all that with non me ne frega niente o non me ne frega proprio niente. Bene, questo è tutto per oggi, fatemi sapere se l'episodio vi è piaciuto, se sì mettete un bel like, ovviamente fatemi delle domande, se ci sono dei dubbi, iscrivetevi al canale se siete nuovi e noi ci vediamo settimana prossima. Ciao, a presto!